Right, what have we got here? Sticky Krill Active Boilies, $12.99 for 1 kg. Regarded as the best fishmeal boilie, which they've improved. Stay fresh. These are the advantages. It'll stay fresh when ready to use whenever you need them. Disadvantages, quite soft bait. So not as good used as hook bait for prolonged periods. Sticky Krill Active. I had these in 20mm and I felt that they were actually quite tough. And I pretty much used them as ground bait for some tench fishing, and they were dynamite. They really were. So yeah, it's like they do them in 12, 16mm, 20mm, $12.99. Buy a pack and just try them out. Mainline Cell, $13.99. Advantages will work all year. It's been a recipe which has been around for 20 plus years. It's been very successful. Sizes of boilies: 10mm, 15mm, 18mm. They do a freezer version. Disadvantages: light coloured bait that can draw the attention of bird life. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've used Mainline Cell, but I've always gotten a little bit better with fishmeal boilies. But I'm sure they work, and everyone talks very, very highly about them. Yeah, Parker baits. Not heard of these. Not tried these boilies. Do them in a 10mm, 14mm, 18mm. Freeze it and shelf life. So advantages: steamed rather than boiled to keep attractors locked in. Dusted after cooking for extra attraction. Disadvantage: bait is quite soft, so isn't the best applied with a throwing stick straight out of the bag. Yeah, so if it's quite soft, I mean, maybe suited to sort of like a day ticket. If it's quite soft and disintegrates a little bit, it might be okay to when it disintegrates, so that you're not sort of putting too much bait out there. It's got that sort of vibe about it. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Dynamite Baits, Tiger Nut. Not used these ones, but I've used Dynamite the sauce, and fishmeal boys, and I find them absolutely phenomenal for carp in the 15mm size. So these ones in particular, Tiger Nut, very strong aroma. It smells incredible, so that's got to be good news. Soft, so it can crumble up easily. Don't know if I like that so much. I want to sort of know I've got a bait on there. Don't want peckers like roach and other bits and pieces nibbling away at it. It's not available in a freezer bait. I know that Carp adore them, and talking about that they work quite well in winter as well. Yeah, Sticky the Krill, $11.99. I've used the other fishmeal boilie, Bloodworm, and I found the product really, really sort of felt like it was well made and caught fish on it straight away. This bait apparently took the company Sticky, through the stratosphere, so to speak. Good for big carp and barbel. So I was very impressed with them. But I've since gone on to the sauce boilies by Dynamite, and I think both of them are absolutely brilliant. I really do. So the advantages is packed full of natural attraction. It smells incredibly fishy. Disadvantages: quite a soft bait. Doesn't always work well with a throwing stick. Yeah, soft bait. Yeah, it is fairly soft, but I mean, I can remember having the boilies in the water for sort of like, quite a long period of time, maybe sort of like 4 hours, and you could just see the water just start to sort of come around the edges once you'd sort of, I'd always put a fresh one on anyway. But yeah, they really are great quality compared to what they were, 25, 30 years ago, the old boilies. Right, CC Moore Live System, dubbed Best Winter Boilie. I've never purchased them at all. Advantages: great for use in cold water. Smells incredible. Disadvantages: sweetness makes it a favourite of species like bream and tench too. And probably chub would like one of those in a river, wouldn't you say? Yeah, so it talks about low oil content, working well in cold temperatures, doesn't need to be soaked or fishing for a long period to get the scent out of it. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a new bait and you want it to work instantly, and it isn't a fish meal or you know, a nut sort of dominated sort of boilie, it's a great choice for that. So yeah, give it a whirl. So DNA Baits the Bug natural boilie, dubbed best natural boilie, $10.99. DNA Baits. Boilie sizes 8mm, 12mm, 15, 22mm. I think they do an 18 as well. And advantages, completely different proteins to other competitors. 8mm baits available in the range, would be good for the old bream. Disadvantage, not the best choice for winter fishing, but will still work in smaller quantities. So it's just something different there to try. Some slightly different ingredients. Yeah, worth sort of investigating. Sticky baits, Manila. I have actually brought a packet of these. I've used them more for ground bait, really. What it is, where I go carp fishing, they generally really prefer a fishmeal boilie, but I just wanted to try these because these got a really... I knew some other carp anglers who swear by them. I've never actually caught anything, but I do know they are, in some waters, they are a brilliant bait. They smell absolutely delicious. They really do. Good company, sticky baits. It's just that where I do my carp fishing, it's all fishmeal boilie, basically. But I would recommend these, definitely, to you people. So what advantages have we got here? So it's got a unique coating for added attraction. We've got work in all weathers and temperatures. Okay, that's fair enough. So it might be a good winter bait. Shelf life baits a little harder than the freezer versions. Yes, I suppose they were. They do a 12mm, a 16mm, a 20mm. I'd probably go somewhere in the middle with a 16mm one. Right, Nutrabaits soluble boilies, $9.99, a little bit cheaper than the rest. So they've been testing these for a few years. So I've been told they begin to break down. The baits break down within 15 minutes of entering the water, and are fully broken down within 2 to 8 hours, depending on the water temperature. So it wouldn't be my cup of tea. But the idea of that is to not sort of choke the swim with too much bait, getting a lot of scent in there, I would say. So advantages, much quicker breakdown than normal boilies, releases attraction whilst keeping food content to a minimum. So that's exactly what I was just then saying. Disadvantages, only available in 18mm. So I'm not being funny, they're more of a ground bait boilie, which is ideal. That's exactly what you want. So with regards to, I'm just trying to find out if they are fishmeal boilies or not. Doesn't say. Okay, yeah. So it'll cloud up the water. They'll cloud up the water, so that can be good as well. They're in a range of flavours. Okay, so you'll probably be able to find a fishmeal one there. So that's your ultimate ground bait boilie. I wouldn't use it as your hook bait, but you could certainly fire a lot of that in, and then that'll just powder the bottom up, and then it'll stir up the swim. I'd say that's a really good asset to have when you go carp fishing, something like that. Right, Bloodworm sticky baits. I've had quite a lot of success with these. I'm starting to like the Mainline sauce better. However, I've done really well off these fishmeal boilies in the, I think, 16mm was the size I got. They are quite soft. They're sort of very rich red colour. They are a little bit soft. They do soak the water in a little bit. I generally wouldn't leave the bait on there too long. Where I go, I do quite a lot of day ticket sort of carping, so I'm always checking the bait every sort of 3 or 4 hours, so to speak. But that's just where I fish. It reminds you of Robin Red a little bit. That sort of pellet. So yeah, I found I caught a lot of carp on them, and they do give me quite a lot of confidence, and they're quite a good price. They're £3 cheaper than some of the other ones. They do as a freezer bait. So it's great for longer sessions. Okay. Available in shelf life only is a disadvantage. That's right. I only have had the shelf life ones. Yeah, and they just sort of pong. They do stink quite well. Just feel like you got a lot of confidence when you got them on. But the mainline source ones, sorry, the Dynamite source ones, I think they are. They're sort of on the same sort of level, really, I would say. Right, Nash Citruz, $13.99 1kg. I think this is the last review we're doing. So you can get the sizes of 12mm, 15, 18, 20 in shelf life. Advantages: super high attraction, supplied with hook baits. Yes, I should hope so. Disadvantages: can be too bright and obvious for shy carp in warmer months. Okay. Too bright. So if your carp fishery is a very cloudy water, it's like where my carp fishery is, the water is always murky, and I use green giant sweet corn as a ground bait over the top of my whatever boilie I use. So it's, you can always see the sweet corn, but they seem to be at home in on the boilie, which is almost camouflaged in with what the floor would look like. But I use the sweet corn to draw them in. But yeah, so in those kind of environments, a big bright white boilie, so to speak, for me would be a massive advantage. But if you're fishing a very clear fishery, then you're going to have to possibly look at something different. But if the fish are feeding, they're feeding, aren't they? You know. So it's not one I've tried, and visually imposing. They talk about almost fluorescent colour. It's marketed as a bait to go to when everything else fails. So it reminds me it might be sort of a winter sort of bait, you know. And it's got sort of high levels of oils and fruity esters and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's yeah, it might be a bait if you're sort of intending to. It might be quite hard. And it'd be perfect if you want to leave it out there in the winter for sort of long sort of periods, things like that. So yeah, yeah. I mean, good luck with that. And yeah, there's a review of the 10 or so, 11 or so different sort of boilies. Hope you enjoyed. Yes, yeah, so another one here. I've not heard of Royal Marine. Quite an interesting one there. So it's super rich bait. Packed full of excellent carp attractors in this one. Good for the summer. Sounds like it's a fishmeal boilie, sort of treated marine shellfish proteins in there. And boilie size is 15, 18, 24, so it's quite a sort of a big fish sort of boilie, I would say. I do a freezer, if I can pronounce it properly. Boilie. Advantage: great for the health of the fish. Okay. Packed full of natural attraction, proven fish catcher. So, yeah, maybe worth a punt with that one. Not available any smaller than 15. Okay, there's a disadvantage. Yeah, so there's endless flavours and colours there with these boilies, and yeah, I would suggest you sort of, you know, I've always found fishmeal ones to be pretty good, and to have one or two different varieties in your armoury, so to speak. You ain't got to take lots down there. But you can sort of take, a selection of one in sort of doing it. You might find on another day, or if you go to a new fishery and you're trying to work out what's best, that's when you want to bring a selection of different boilies. When you go to a new venue, to try and sort of, home in and if you've got 3 rods, have one different one on each one, and to see if you can get them to respond on one. And do you know what I'm saying? Each fishery's got it. For me, it's got its own little. It's got a type of boilie flavour which sort of works better than others.